everybody, and welcome to Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with...
Paulie presents and knows the Moo Cow Moo.
Hey, and we're here to talk about 2018's Halloween.
Calloween.
No, not Halloween. Whatever.
I wish.
Anyway, Halloween, which was directed by David Gordon Green, who has done some amazing work like Pineapple Express, and some amazing work as, I think he did The Interview, and he did some stuff back in the day that I really love, like All the Real Girls and things like that. And he made this movie that was very much an homage to the original Halloween. So we're going to give you our take on it and what our thoughts were and everything. And this is going to be spoiler-filled.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have not seen the movie yet, what are you waiting for? Go out and see it. Judge it for yourself. Let us know what you think. If you liked it, tell us you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell us you didn't like it. I mean, we don't care. We didn't make it.
But, there's no way we can do a real review of this without getting into some of the spoilers. So you can't tap dance around it. Just going to say it.
We're going to say it because there's a lot of really cool stuff that happened in the movie and kind of deserves to be talked about. So, first of all, like the storyline is, it kind of all gets started, like right before the 40-year mark. So, 1978, Michael Myers had, murdered 5 people, they said, and, in Haddonfield, Illinois, after he had been incarcerated in a, mental facility, Smith Grove, mental facility for years. And he was kind of designed as, like, people knew him as pure evil, basically. And so he ends up getting, breaking free and murdering all these people I guess it was like, 20 years later or something that he started murdering all these people or something. I don't know, something like that. It was, or maybe 10, I don't know. But, so this time it's like, I guess it's 40 years later. And Jamie Lee Curtis is playing Laurie Strode, who's been like waiting for this day. I don't know how she knew it was going to be 40 years later that he would escape, but she knew. I guess every anniversary she probably gets tense and whatever. She has PTSD and she's a little on the nutso side.
I'm sure at 39 she's like, this is the year, definitely.
And then it doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
40 years was the number. And I guess what sets it off is like these people that are doing a podcast, which I thought was kind of funny, because I mean, we do a podcast, but like.
Well, yeah, and there's a reason why they're the vehicles who end up doing that, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, so they end up coming to the penitentiary that he's at right now to, I guess, to stir something out of him. They want him to speak. They want him to say something.
Well, it's the last time they can really talk to him because he's getting moved to a new facility, which is apparently not a very nice facility, and he won't have access to people, and this is the last chance they're going to get to sort of poke him into saying something, because that's like a big deal, is to get Michael Myers to say something.
Because he doesn't talk. Because he's Michael Myers. He just kills people. I don't think he's talked since he was like 5 or whatever when he first murdered his sister, which... never explained why he did it. That was the whole point of the original movie, was that he was this boogeyman who just killed people unmercilessly, for no reason other than pure enjoyment of doing it, I guess.
Who knows? That's speculation, because it's not like he ever cracks a smile. He's never seen to actually enjoy it. It's just... that's a theory that's going around, and nobody really knows.
Nobody really knows why he does
And
this.
that's kind of one of the big differences between the original Halloween and all the other follow-ups. And I'll probably talk a little bit about that.
He'll talk into that because he really had feelings about that. But so anyway, to go more onto the story, Laurie's got a family now. She's got a daughter and a granddaughter, and
because she's old.
Yeah, and so she wants to, and so is he.
I know.
Michael Myers is old, man.
Oh, I know. You see him from behind, and
he's got gray hair,
white hair, and gray beard.
Yeah, and you're like, and I think it was played by Nick Castle as like his face, well, which you don't see his full face ever, which is fine with me because I you know, that's the whole point. Is he's covered by a mask. I really don't want to see his face, you know, because I think that would take it out.
Yeah,
Of
you
everything.
don't want it to be like that Star Wars moment where you see Darth Vader's face and he's this goofy looking doofus. And it
He's
kinda
a white guy with a black guy's
ruins
voice.
everything.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to the movie. So he ends up escaping, of course.
Of course he does.
And he escapes through a bus accident, which I hate to say it, that's kind of typical in Hollywood these
Oh, yeah.
days. Like even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had like that. Turtles 2 had that like thing.
I was
So-
thinking Jack Frost. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen that crappy, silly movie, but
Which
same
one, the
thing
Michael
happened.
Keaton one or the?
No. The one with the snowman and
I knew which
the
one you meant,
carrot.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one that goes to Hawaii in the second one, or something.
Yes. It's
Which
so
makes
funny.
no sense.
No.
Whatever.
It's so much fun though.
Anyway, moving on. So Halloween, basically, he escapes on Halloween. It's October 30. They couldn't pick another day for him to get transferred.
Of course not.
Like, he couldn't get transferred on October 29th. He is transferred on October 30th. And then, of course, it goes into Halloween. And so he escapes, murders a bunch of people. I mean, I don't want to even get into that, including the two podcasters. Goes on kind of a killing spree. And then kills random people until he actually goes to the house of the girl, the granddaughter's like friend. Which I guess we can get into that in a little bit after I tell the story. But by the end of it, Jamie Lee Curtis has her showdown. And so does the whole family. It has this like big showdown with Michael Myers, and it all ends. And so if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. If you haven't seen the movie, I just spoiled the shit out of it, and too bad.
But honestly, there's nothing that happens in this film that you can't already have figured out going in. It's pretty much the same thing, and that's really one of my main issues with it, is that it's breaking no new ground at all. Everything that happens has pretty much already happened in one way or another.
Aw.
Now, what I liked is the fact that, when I came into this, what I had heard was that this was going to take place immediately after the end of the original film. That all the other stuff that happened in the sequel was just going to get wiped away and ignored. And I liked that because I thought all of the sequels were pretty craptastic. So to me, that was great. This was a chance to sort of get back to the original story and then go on with it. So I didn't really know or think of it as an homage, but I guess it really it is.
Well, okay, so this is my theory on that. So I have this theory because, okay, there's 5 different timelines, and somebody pointed this out on Facebook to me or whatever, but there's 5 different timelines. There's Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, 5, and 6. So that's one timeline. Then there's Halloween, there's Halloween 3.
Which has nothing to do with any of it.
Which has nothing to do with any of the things. Then there's Halloween 1, 2, 7, and 8, which is H2O and Resurrection. And then there's Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween.
Not even going to get into
like
the zombie
those
ones.
Rob Zombie Halloweens. And then there's this one, which is Halloween and Halloween, which I think is so strange. But I guess they didn't want to call it Halloween 2. Again, because, it'd be confusing, I guess, to people. Like, wait.
Even more Halloween. Halloweener.
So it's basically Halloween 2. This is like the 2
Right.
that nobody got.
Right.
So this is 2 version 3.
Right. Alternate reality sort of thing.
Because we had Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Halloween 2. And then this is like Halloween 2.
And
But
it's interesting because the original Halloween 2 was still made by Carpenter and Hill together. And so it's not like that's not canon. It's just that they decided to push it back even further. Which makes sense because Carpenter is not involved and Hill are not involved in this movie, which is another thing I didn't know till we went into it. It says it's based on the characters created by them, but other than that, they had nothing to do with the film.
I think John Carpenter was an executive producer, and he did do the music for the movie. So he had an involvement. He had their blessing, really. I don't think he gave personal, opinion on it.
I think John Carpenter has done everything he wants to do with that particular movie and that particular character and story, frankly.
Well, from what I had heard, John Carpenter did not even want a sequel,
No, he did not.
and so he wanted to do basically he just wanted to leave the first one alone.
Because
And
the
then-
first one is so perfect as it is.
Right, and then they made the sequel, and the sequel of Halloween 2 is basically the same night. And Jamie Lee Curtis goes to hospital, and then Michael Myers shows up there and stuff like that. And they even did that in Halloween 2 as an homage to Halloween 2.
Yeah, there are nice little homage bits, like, the part where the granddaughter is in class and they're talking about fate. That's in the first film,
And I think PJ
Souls is the teacher, so she's from the
So-
first film. That was a cool little touch. I like that. And certain scenes are set up so that they look almost exactly like what happened there. That's kind of the homage stuff that we were getting at. That's kind of the cool little touches that I like to see.
Yeah, but aside from that, I mean, and there's a lot of, oh my god, there's some really cool homages to the original Halloween that I love that were like, I mean, there's a scene I honestly did not think needed to be in the movie. Could have been like a deleted scene or something. They could have shot it, then just left it on the cutting room floor. Could have cut some time. Because honestly, the movie goes a little too long.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion. But the scene that I didn't like, that a lot of people are probably going to kill me for saying this, but the scene where Michael Myers just sees some chick in a place, he's spying on her, walks around, comes back behind her and like chokes her or something, kills her, slices her, actually like slices her or something, right?
Oh, okay. So not the old lady where he
No, not the old lady, but that made sense. The other scene with him just doing that was just, to me, that was just padding.
Random people.
But it looked cool. Like I was even telling Paul while we were watching, that's a cool shot. There was a great shot, and it gave homage to the original Halloween, where if you watch the original Halloween, there's a scene where Michael Myers, in one shot, walks around and goes upstairs and kills his sister in the opening
that's
scene.
the famous one
That's
shot.
very much like Touch of Evil, and I think Psycho
3.
even had a what?
Actually, I think 2 or 3 cuts in that, but they're sort of disguised. But yeah.
Yeah. So, and like, Alfred Hitchcock, like with Rope, or whatever, where it's like one continuous take and stuff like that. So, yeah, they did that, and they did this one well. And the beauty of you can do those things nowadays without having to have to do the cool movements that you have to do.
But the thing is that they were very, very different. In this one, it was kind of done for padding. In the very first film, and that's kind of what you were talking about, is it went along too long.
It did, but like...
It was really not necessary,
I know,
other
it
than
wasn't.
the shot.
It wasn't, but then, again, like, I can see why they did it as the homage,
Right.
and everything. It's just, I honestly think it took too long.
It just did not have the impact of the original, because in the original, not only is it technically really, really cool, the fact that it puts you into the eyes and the mindset of little Michael Myers, and he puts the mask on and you're seeing everything through his eyes, and it's kind of like John Carpenter saying, there's this thing inside of all of us that potentially could be every one of us. And that's kind of my big thing with this particular movie, is that it kind of demythologizes Michael Myers. He's more of a force of nature. He's more mythic in the first one. He's bigger and beyond something that we can understand. And in all the other sequels, and especially in this one, he's pretty much just a serial killer. And he loses a lot of impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way, honestly. I've never liked the boogeyman aspect, the supernatural aspect, because, like, if there is a real supernatural aspect, nothing's ever explained, and I always kind of like a little bit of an explanation.
Oh, I know, but there is no explaining the boogeyman. I mean, that's just it. There's no explaining evil. I mean, it's just there. It's part of the universe, and you have to accept it and deal with it.
A person who can't be killed doesn't make any sense in the real world.
Right, and that's the thing. In the real world, if you're talking about a mythic figure, it's one thing, and that's kind of why it works in the first film.
He isn't.
And it doesn't happen in this one. In this one, he's just a serial killer. So when he gets hit by a car and he still gets up, it's kind of, I raise the bullshit flag.
He doesn't get up like automatically. Like it
No.
takes him a while.
Oh, it takes him a few minutes.
Yeah.
Still get hit by a car. You're not getting up. You have internal organs like everybody else. He gets shot at one point. It's like it never happened. So yeah, that's my main issue with it, is that the whole mythical part, the whole metaphoric aspect that made the first film huge and was such an impact and so frightening and so amazing is just not there. And and I get that. That's really, really, really difficult to capture. But that's why I think John Carpenter only wanted the one, because you're not going to get that in some of the other stuff. It
Well,
follows.
also, I'm kind of glad they didn't do it, because then they kind of put their own spin on the movie instead of just doing a ripoff of Halloween. They're bringing something different to the table.
They kind of have to, because again, Rob Zombie has already redone Halloween, and as I was saying, it's Rob Zombie might make a more violent or more bloody film version of Halloween than John
With
Carpenter,
rednecks.
but he's not going to make a better one. And it's the same thing with this too. It's kind of like he decided to make Halloween 2 and give it a better sort of story.
I think they did, honestly. If you look at Halloween 2, I watched that recently. I didn't care for it.
No,
honestly.
it's not very good. It's really not. The main issue I have, I think we talked about this earlier, was that whole, in the fact that the first thing that it pales in comparison to the original, that whole part where they start bringing in all of the confusing, illogical bit about Laurie Strode being Michael Myers' sister is ridiculous. And it's funny because in this film they address that, where the granddaughter's talking to her friends and saying, oh, isn't she his sister or something? And they're like, oh no, that's some kind of ridiculous rumor that's been going around. And I like that, because that goes back to the whole point of them getting rid of all the sequels and getting rid of some of the other stuff where all of that is sort of played upon.
No, those are in the trailers too. Like, I knew that for that was going to be a big deal like that. And I always thought that was a cool kind of
Absolutely.
thing. However, I just don't think that the movie itself is I enjoy watching these things. Like, I enjoy watching Halloween 2 Part 2, or whatever you want to call it, Part 3, whatever you want to call it, because basically this is another version of Halloween 2, and I really enjoyed. I thought I had a great time. I loved all the characters. I loved the death scenes were great. They tripled the death factor. I guess they have to if they're going to do. 40 years
and
later.
I guess so. And I see what you're saying. On the other hand, if you want something more than just a serial killer running around killing somebody on Halloween, this is not going to give you anything more than that. That's all it is.
I don't think so. I thought it gave me enough. I thought it was a badass kind of revenge tale with this woman who's been wanting to freaking murder this guy for years. She even has this line in the movie where she says, "I've been praying for him to escape so I could kill him." And then the guy says that was a stupid thing to pray for.
Even that's nothing new, though. In H2O and some of the other ones, they've had her confronting Michael Myers and fighting them and doing all that.
One thing, let's go with this stuff. Okay, you talked about the stuff you didn't like. And I don't know if there's more to it or not, but I'm going to address some things I didn't like in the movie so that people can understand. It's not that I think that this movie is like a perfect movie or something, or whatever, like a 5-star perfect movie. We'll get into our ratings in a little bit, but it is, it's a fun popcorn movie. If you're going to go watch something around Halloween time in October, this is the fun movie to watch, and everything. But what I didn't like, there are a couple things. One thing I did not like, the new Loomis. The new Loomis,
he was
as they
awful.
call him.
He was awful.
I didn't like him because they used his voice to sound very much like the original, and it just got distracting. It felt like this guy was doing the voice of Loomis and everything, and they even the girl, was it Jamie Lee Curtis, even says, "Oh, so you're the new Loomis," and I'm like, really? Like, would she really say that? Like, I didn't buy that. Because, like, obviously that was a reference to us, the audience, going, okay, this is going to be the new Loomis.
Right.
And now it's addressed. Okay, now it's
Meta.
whatever. But no, I didn't like that. I felt like that was
Well,
a awful line.
As bad as that was, his interference in the story is really, really bad. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
Well, I guess no, it's a
story-wise.
spoiler. I mean, we're already spoiling.
Oh my god! To me that was the most cringeworthy thing.
I agree. Like,
Oh,
I hated
that was
that
bad.
part.
Oh,
I honestly thought him. I didn't mind the ending of the movie where they basically blew Michael up, which I thought was almost a very big homage to the to Halloween 2,
Fire burns.
where he got burned at the end of Halloween 2.
Right.
I thought that was perfect. I mean, if they could bring him back from that in Halloween 4, then they could probably bring him back somehow in the sequel, but whatever. Anyway,
flame retardant suit.
I liked I liked the ending. I did not like his interference. Basically,
Oh my god.
he's the new Loomis. I forgot his name, Dr. something that was really hard to pronounce. And I was like,
Dr. Unpronounceable.
why are you going to use a name that we can't pronounce? Like, if we're going to watch a movie where we're going to be talking about this character, Dr. Loomis is perfect. It was an homage to Psycho. It was, which Jamie Lee Curtis's mother was in. It was, because Sam Loomis is the name of the guy that Janet Leigh's character, Marion Crane, is cheating on, or cheating with, or whatever. But anyway, then there's this, what is it, the scene, he goes, he kills the cop,
He does.
sheriff, not Michael Myers, but the doctor, unpronounceable, murders the cop,
Yeah,
and then
this is right after he's been hit by the car, and you think, okay, he's down, the guy wants to kill him, and he's about to kill him, and instead the doctor all of a sudden turns his scalpel around and kills the cop with it. Why? Why did you do that? And then he comes up with this half-baked mumbo-jumbo pop psychoanalytical garbage saying, oh, well, I have this theory that he's living because he has to be a predator and she's living because she has to be frightened of him or something goofy like that. I'm like, what? And he wants to see him in his natural state.
And then
What?
Then he puts Michael in the cop car in the back seat next to
The granddaughter.
to the granddaughter, and takes him to or starts taking him to Laurie Strode's house. So this is the part I really hated, because this like almost kills the movie. Okay, it would make sense if they brought him to the house, right, and then Michael starts killing people and kills that guy, and I'm like, perfect, that would have been awesome. But they stop like halfway there because
Right.
she's going on about how she got him to talk, which she didn't. Nobody's ever heard his voice, blah, blah, blah. And he talked to me if you let me
He
out.
said one word.
If you let me out, I'll be out of here, and blah, blah, blah. So he stops the car, gets killed by Michael.
course
She
he does.
escapes. I don't know how she escapes. Those doors lock.
He apparently
Like,
didn't care and just let her go.
I don't know. So she leaves, she runs off, and then some cops come over to check on them. They end up getting killed. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And then he shows up to the house. I'm like, there was no fucking GPS.
No, that's the whole reason why that stupid convoluted scene is in there, is to get him to the new Laurie Strode house, because he has no idea where
Strode.
no idea where she is. No
Yes.
idea.
No idea. And then somehow he figures it out. That fucking
Yeah,
scene.
That was infuriating.
Scene was so bad. I'm sorry. Blumhouse, I love you. I'll watch every movie that you guys put out, but who fucking agreed that was a good idea?
Yeah, that scene
that
was
was
shit.
bad.
The one part I did like about it is when he does kill the doctor in a rather gruesome, fitting way. There are several characters who end up getting killed that I couldn't wait for them to die, and they finally do die. So that was satisfying. But
Oh God, there's
Otherwise,
this annoying
the teenage
the
kid,
teenager who like tries to like hit on her or whatever,
Whiny
and then he
boy.
gets all upset like, oh my God,
please
I'm
die,
stuck."
please die,
And
kill
then he
him,
looks like he's not gonna die, and
like,
he's
"No."
like driving Paul nuts.
kill him, please.
I didn't
kill
care
him.
if he lived or died. Literally, I just didn't care. I didn't care for the character. I thought he
Yeah.
was just a throwaway character, like another death that
Ridiculous.
didn't really
well,
matter.
and it's freaking teenagers. I'm sick to death of teenagers. I'm not a teenager. I have no interest in teenagers. They can all go and have their own teenage movies. Stay out of my movies. Go away.
Yeah, this is definitely. Well, they had to have it because they knew that teenagers are going to be watching this, so they had to have that aspect of it. But like, thankfully, that's like a small little part of it. Like, I mean, it was more about the granddaughter.
I was getting worried because we followed the granddaughter into like the school to the locker room.
Her boyfriend
Oh my
cheats
God!
on
Who
her.
gives a fuck, man? This is
And-
supposed to be about Laurie Strode. You know,
Yeah.
Strode, whatever.
Yeah.
Should be her and
I-
the whole fight between her and Michael Myers.
Yeah, so it was just ridiculous. So anyway, it was bad.
So that was infuriating. There are a few other things that it just was crazy. It's just there's some good stuff to it as well. I mean, technically, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, it was shot well. The sound was really good. The death scenes were good. There was good special effects. I liked Laurie Strode's compound of doom.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. She had a nice little array of traps set up for him.
It made sense in the sense at the end when it all came together. But like, if you made a place where like nobody can come see you, unless you let them, and it didn't.
It should have been much harder. That's for sure.
Yeah, and there should have been traps set up around.
Yeah.
the
She
house,
should have
like
fucking
outside.
mined the place. You step on a
Yeah.
mine and blow up.
But of course, then other people, visitors, would do that.
Well, they got warnings there,
Well, then he'd read them. He's not dumb, like
Well, he's gonna go there anyway because that's the whole thing. Is he's got this urge to kill this person. We don't.
She's the
really
one
know
that got
why.
away.
The one that got away. You always have that one that gets
Yeah,
away.
the one that gets away. She's the one that got away, and he wants to murder her.
Right.
And then, like that guy said it like that. He had that idea that and may have been like eye rolling, but
Right.
in the sense that's what this whole fucking movie is
Well,
based
and
on.
what's really interesting to me is they kind of gloss over a very important thing. In the connector between the original film and this film, they sort of smooge over the fact that, at the end of the first Halloween movie, he does get shot, but somewhere along the line, he gets captured. In fact, there's a character, one of the cops there is one of the first responders who helps capture Michael Myers and then gets him back into jail, and then he's been sitting in the institution all this time. So how exactly did they manage to do that? I really wish they can't show it because it can't really happen. So that's why you never see it. So we have to sort of it's understood that that's what happened, even though it's like, yeah, right. Give me a break.
It's, there's a lot of like convoluted issues, like which I mean I'm sorry, but you're getting paid millions of dollars. There's 3 writers on the movie, and you can't get your shit straight.
Right, and there's a lot of conveniences and stuff. Like the podcast people, okay, like I was saying, the reason the podcast people, they're only there for one reason. That is to give Michael Myers his mask. That is the only reason why he's there. That's the only reason why they show up in the first place, is because they go to pester him, to poke him into finally saying something. He won't until he brings out the mask and he's like, here's the mask, do you feel it? Do it. So he can kill them, then he
Say
can get
something.
his mask. Right. That's the only reason they exist, and it is like a country mile wide how obvious the plot device is for those two.
It would be like somebody writing Jason, like a Friday the 13th movie, having him been arrested or whatever, tied up, and then saying, say something because I've got your hockey mask or whatever. And then, like, who cares? Like,
I know.
I don't want Michael Myers to say. If he had actually said something, I would have been pissed.
And then he goes to, once he escapes, first thing he does is he goes and he kills like some guy in a garage so he can get his dungarees, because he's got to have the dungarees, can't have anything different. He's got to have his mask, so he kills the 2 podcasters who happen to be at the very same garage getting gas, because you got to have his mask, the same mask.
I don't even know how he could, like, He never even saw their face.
Right.
So how did he know they had the mask in there? That was the other thing that pissed me off. Is like he knew way too much when he didn't. You know, like if he's gonna be a normal person, you're gonna criminalize him, like
demythologize him, right?
Yeah, all that stuff. Then you need to make sure that this guy is as a normal person, which would mean that he would turn around and look at the guy and then not say anything.
Right.
You know, that's even worse if he turns around, but he doesn't turn around. He never sees the guy's voice. He
Right.
can feel it. He can see that he can feel that the mask is there. And once the guy says you can feel that the mask is there, of course, then the guy knows there's a mask there.
And why can he feel that the mask is there? What's the mask? Is the mask supernatural?
Well, the other big question is, it's not the same mask. You know, it's a different looking mask.
It is.
Than the original.
And it's not like, yeah, he doesn't have the clown mask. I mean, that would have been interesting. If he'd brought the clown mask, maybe you could, I know, but I'm just saying, if he had brought the clown mask from when he was a kid, maybe you could make the argument that something was wrong with the mask and that's what got him to kill originally, and that this is what's going to get him to go off again. But that's not the mask that he brings, you know?
He brought the William Shatner mask.
The Shatner mask.
Which, you know, is a great mask, but unfortunately they changed it a little bit because they have to have a new mask. It can't be the same fucking mask because they probably didn't have the same mask and they can't make the same.
See, it would have been funny if he had put the mask on and all of a sudden he did speak, but he's had to speak like Shatner and kind of overact and kind of, you know, I'm going to kill them now. You know, it would have been funny. But
that's not what we were watching.
No, there's nothing inventive or new or original or anything about this.
I mean, and there's barely any comedy in it, honestly. No. And written by Danny McBride is one of the co-writers, and I love that guy. That guy is hilarious. I think he's a great actor. He wrote Eastbound and Down, and a lot of people love that show. And you know, I never could get into it. That's just me. But I honestly thought that his writing was just, it was just okay. Like, their writing was just okay. They could have done, this could have been a really cool movie. I just think that they made too many mistakes in the script and never got them fixed.
I was just very disappointed. I'm not going to say it was a terrible film. Like I said, it was very competently made. The acting, for the most part, is good. I don't have any issues other than unpronounceable doctor guy. He was annoying through and through.
The teenager.
Oh, and the teenager was annoying. But I think, you know, that's a teenager. They're annoying. That's what they do.
Right. And plus, you know, there's this one great part in it where he, he's in the, he's in somebody's lawn and there's motion sensors, right? And he sees Michael, and then he's like, I'm sorry, I'm in your lawn, blah, blah, blah. The lights go back out because they're motion sensors. Then he steps, they come back on, and the guy's gone, or Michael Myers is gone. And it's like, that's really sketchy, dude. That stuff was kind of funny. Like, it made me laugh a little bit. I was like, all right.
And, you know,
but we knew this guy was going to die.
Jamie Lee Curtis's performance, I thought, was competent. I think it was kind of two-dimensional. Not one-dimensional, but when you compare her character with a similar character, I'm thinking Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, where they've gone through this PTSD, very disturbed thing, where then all of a sudden she finds strength in it and starts to come back. You know, Linda Hamilton gives a much more subtle, much more interesting, much more layered performance where you're also seeing vulnerability, you're also seeing other stuff. I didn't really get that in this particular performance.
And I don't think that was Jamie Lee's fault.
Not necessarily. She's doing
I think it's the writer's fault, and I think it's also the director's fault because the director is supposed to get that out of her. And I as much as I think David Gordon Green is cool, honestly, this is no Get Out. Get Out was a much better movie for Blumhouse. This was supposed to be this year's Get Out, basically. This is supposed to be the movie that people were like excited to see and thought was going to be amazing. And honestly, I think, all in all, I enjoyed it for what it was, you know. I don't know, like the original Halloween is such a good movie.
It's a very tough act to follow.
It is. And so, like you were saying, like it might have been easier to not have the sequels. I particularly like some of the sequels. Like I like Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris. Not a huge fan of Halloween 5. I didn't really. And I'm kind of torn on 6. 6 has two different versions, so it's harder to like talk about that one.
You know, for me, Halloween, the original Halloween is one of those touchstone films. You're never going to ever really make a good sequel. I mean, you're not going to
Halloween
have
3 was good.
You're not going to have, please. You're not going to have Seven Samurai 2 and Seven Samurai 3 and Seven Samurai 5.0, and it's just ridiculous because there's only one. It's the original, and you cannot top it. It's the same thing with Halloween. Halloween was such a great movie that elevated every element in there above what it really was originally made for, and you're not going to capture lightning in a bottle like that again.
Well,
you're just not. Not even the original people could.
Yeah, and they never made The Fog 2, which was also one of John Carpenter's like great movies. So They Live 2.
Mm-hmm.
They might do a remake eventually of They Live, I'm sure, and they did a remake of The Fog, but
Never saw it. I just have no interest.
well, I mean, it's not going to be the same movie. It's
Right.
like,
And I like the original. The original's great.
oh, I know. They did a remake of Assault at Precinct 13. Now,
Right.
but that, I mean, I have not seen the remake yet, but I love the original.
And it's cool about The Fog because Nancy Loomis, who was in the original Halloween, is also in The Fog, and she's yet another Loomis. The whole
So
Loomis
is, I
connection.
believe, so is Janet Leigh.
Right. Right.
And so is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. Right.
And, you know, it's got a lot of John Carpenter's
Yeah, we'll have to talk about The Fog at some point. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we got to do a Fog
It's not
review
quite
or
the
something.
same level as Halloween, but it's still really darn good. That whole John Houseman beginning is fabulous. But anyway, you know, getting back to this film, and especially with Jamie Lee Curtis, like I said, I think she did the best with what was given to her. I know I've seen her give better performances elsewhere. I think she's certainly capable of doing it. It's just in this particular film, she was kind of boxed in to sort of crazy and unhinged and damaged, and that's all she gave us.
Yeah.
You know?
So all right, let's do our ranking. I guess we're done talking about it.
1 to
if
5.
you liked the movie, let us know what you thought. And we're gonna do a 1 to 5 ranking, and
Right.
tell us what you guys think of our ranking. If you agree, awesome. If you did not agree, tell us why you think it's better or worse than what we say. So you give your ranking first.
Okay, well, compared to most of the other...
And 1 to 5 is compared to our stinkometer thing.
Right. No, this isn't the
This
stinkometer.
is not the stinkometer. This is 1 to 5. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Right, well, 0 really being the worst. But, you know, compared to some of the other sequels, I'd say this is better than most of them, though not better than all of them. Halloween 2, even though it has a lot of flaws and it's not very good, to me, it's still one of the better sequels that is out there. And I'm not talking about any of the Rob Zombie stuff. I haven't looked at them, and I probably never will. So keeping that in mind, I would say that this was probably a 2.5 out of 5 for me. This is pretty much mediocre, right in the middle, kind of meh.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Even though I still enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed watching it. Is it something I'm gonna watch every Halloween? Probably not. It does not have that. I feel like it doesn't have that rewatchability that the original does. I feel like it's a movie that I'm glad I saw it, and I might probably own it on Blu-ray because you just never know when you might be in the mood to watch it or something. But I'm probably not gonna like be breaking it out that much.
Right. I mean, if you're a completist, if you want to have all of the Halloween films, I can definitely see you wanting to own this.
I'm pissed. I went out today because I was like, all right, I'm gonna spend $40 on the Halloween box set. It's gone now, and it's out of stock everywhere. And do you know why? Because of this movie. Because they are going to release another fucking box set at some point with this movie attached to it, and all the other ones, and it'll be like $50 instead of $40.
See, and I have
or $60 or whatever it's gonna be.
no real interest because I've got the one that I want. I don't care about the rest.
Pissed me off because I had one of those earlier and I just never bought it. I was like, okay, now it's time to buy it. Now I can't.
You
buy
might
it.
see it someday pop up at Second and Charles.
Probably not.
No, it probably will. When the new one comes out, then everyone's going to get rid of the old one. Think about that.
Maybe, I don't know. but I'll probably just buy the new one then. So then that'll just come with the new one, and then that'll probably be $60 instead of $40 because you'll have the $20
And
Blu-ray.
did you say something about you thought there was at least the room for a sequel to this particular one? I really hope not. It's done. Just give it a rest. Go do something new, please.
I think that there probably will be a sequel, especially if this movie makes a lot of money, which I'm sure it will. So unfortunately, I think this will have a sequel, but because Blumhouse makes movies for like $5 million, $10 million, something like that. This might have gotten a little bit more than that, but nobody really gets paid on these movies. Even the big name people, because they get like a percentage of on the back end of the residuals of how much this movie makes. So when this movie makes millions of dollars, Jamie Lee Curtis will get a cut of that.
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, this is it's pretty meh. I mean, mediocrity has become the hallmark of Hollywood these days. So I don't know. What can I tell you?
Who knows? I liked it. I give it a thumbs up. What did you give it?
Meh.
Thumbs sideways.
Some sideways. Hey, could have been worse. It could have been Halloween 3.
I like Halloween 3.
Such a ridiculous movie.
How many more days till Halloween?
6 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 6 more days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
See? If he was quoting that movie like that, he loves it.
Oh yeah,
He's not-
I don't hate it. I just think it's ridiculous and terrible. In fact, I like it more because of that.
Tom Atkins, man.
Stacy Nelkin. That's what I'm talking about.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis had a cameo as like a telephone operator.
Oh, I don't remember. I just remember it being silly as all hell.
It was fun. I saw that sort of recently.
I'm going to make a mask that makes bugs came out of children's faces on Halloween.
Yep, and then
go with
annoying commercial. But I love it. I love that. I love that movie. Anyway,
But as for this movie, if you're a completist, go ahead. But yeah, you're not. Honestly, there's nothing new. There's nothing grand. There's no elevation of the story here. What can I tell you?
according to him, if you want to see this movie, wait for DVD or Blu-ray for free. Me, I'd say see it in the theater. Go ahead, check it out. I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. Don't bring people like him. They're gonna criticize this movie that badly. I enjoy the movie because I just felt like there was a lot of fun to it. The things I didn't enjoy, I mentioned earlier. So there are things that obviously problems. So.
Disappointed.
All right, well, check us out on Indie Film Cafe on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Let's see, what else do we got? We're on Podbean for our podcast, Stitcher, Radio Public, and
iTunes,
Spotify, all that fun stuff.
YouTube
for this. So if you're saying that, you obviously know. Subscribe. Let us know what you feel. Tell us about, honestly, once again, tell us what you guys thought of Halloween. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think it was just like him, a 2.5? Did you think it was like me, 3.5? Did you think it was a 5-star movie? And tell us, I want to know what people's thoughts on, so if you can tell us what your thoughts are on it, we'll know that you watched it all the way to the end of this review, because this is a long-ass review.
There's nothing wrong with holding things to higher standards.
Look, if you tell us what you guys thought of the stupid Loomis guy,
He was awful.
That guy. Tell us what you thought of him putting Michael Myers in the fucking back seat where the granddaughter couldn't escape or whatever if he woke up. And on top of that, of him stopping the car before getting to the place, and then Michael Myers knowing where to go.
Killing someone. He's no business killing anybody. That's Michael Myers' job. That's the whole point of the movie.
Tell us if you agree that was stupid, or if there was if you guys had some kind of theory as to why they did that. I want to know that shit. I want to know if there was a theory as to why they did that. Like Blumhouse, either you explain this shit, or you just
ignore us.
like
Because you can.
Like you're probably going to.
Nanny poo-poo.
Because we're not big apples. We're not big
nobodies.
fish.
Hey, continuity monkey, he's a coming.
All right. And there was no continuity in this movie, so
no errors. No.
Monkey was not allowed in the theater.
He was eating popcorn.
Somewhere else. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.